All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Let's head straight over now to the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Pierre Poilievre joins us on the line. Mr. Poilievre, Pierre, welcome back to the show.
Great to be with you.
Listen, it was about an hour ago. You held an event at a food bank, and it certainly seemed like a campaign-style event. The theme was affordability, but much of the discussion was about Mark Carney, who is, of course, running for the Liberal leadership. Are we in an election campaign?
Well, we are. In fact, it is a deja vu election campaign because yesterday, Mark Carney repeated word for word the exact same deficit promises that Justin Trudeau made and broke 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Trudeau promised, remember, 3 small deficits, after which the budget would balance itself. That would promote growth, infrastructure investment, and help the middle class. Well, how did the story play out? Well, the 3 deficits turned into 9 deficits. The budget never balanced itself. We added $700 billion, in fact, doubled the national debt. The growth has been the worst in the G7. Investment, well, $500 billion of that has left Canada for the U.S. And how about that middle class? After 10 years of Trudeau-Carney Liberals, 80% of middle-class taxpayers are paying more income tax than they were when the Liberals took office, and no one in the middle class can afford to buy a home for the first time in Canadian history. So Mark Carney, Trudeau's economic advisor, which is a role he's had for a half-decade now, went out yesterday and literally recycled the exact same promises. So here we have Carney repeating the same Liberal promises written by the same Liberal advisors with the same Liberal MPs and ministers and looking to elect the same Liberal government for a 4th term. Canadians will not be duped for a 4th time. We have a real choice. Do you want real change? And if you do, you need to elect common sense Conservatives who will tax the taxes, fix the budget, build the homes and stop the crime.
So it sounds like you're operating under an election. It's going to be you against Mark Carney. So tell us your...
Mark Trudeau.
Okay.
It's the Trudeau government with a new face, but exactly the same promises, exactly the same MPs and ministers, exactly the same agenda and goals as we've had for the last 9 years. And so there is no difference. It is Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney trying to pull a fast one to get a 4th term.
So the difference that I do see is these recent polls that now show the Conservatives and the Liberals, if Mark Carney's the guy, to be much more neck and neck than they were, a month ago. So you must be seeing the same polls that I'm seeing. What do you think is happening here? And why do you think, Mark Carney, whatever he's saying is resonating right now?
I don't think so. The Canadians are going to find out that Mark Carney plans to pause the carbon tax. He plans to bring back an even bigger one after the election. He says it will apply on Canadian industry. Can you imagine the steel mills, the aluminum plants, the mines, the other businesses that will shut down if they're hit simultaneously by Carney's carbon tax and Trump's tariffs? You can imagine the inflation we will have, given that Carney has promised to keep all of the spending that Trudeau has done. He's not named a single program he would get rid of. Plus, he's promised tens of billions of dollars of additional spending. When Canadians look at that and say, wow, who's going to pay for that? Well, of course, taxpayers are going to pay for it. And now he says he wants to cook the books. He wants to hide tens of billions of dollars of spending on pork barrel projects and legacy projects from the budget so that it doesn't count. Well, you know as well as I do, you can get a second credit card to fund your next batch of spending. You still have to pay back that second credit card. It's not like it doesn't cost you anything just because you're putting it on a separate card. So carbon tax Carney is just like Justin. We actually need is a real change to a common sense Conservative government that will reverse the policies, Liberal policies of the last 9 years. That means cutting income taxes, taking the GST off new homes so that youth can afford a place to live, cutting bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, foreign aid to bring down the costs on the shoulders of Canadians. And that's what a common sense conservative government led by Pierre Poilievre will do.
Just how much can you cut taxes? Because I know one of the themes, right, of this morning was fixing the budget. Just how much can you cut taxes if you want to fix the budget at a time where we're facing the threat of tariffs and perhaps an economic contraction because of it?
Well, that's exactly why we need to cut taxes, because that will counter the effects of the tariff. The tariffs are going to be like taxes, and the only way to offset those tariffs is to cut taxes on work, investment, home building, energy, and making stuff in Canada. The tax increases we've seen from Trudeau and Carney over the last years would be devastating if combined with Trump's tariffs. But you ask a good question. Where do you get the money for tax cuts? We have to cut the liberal spending, cut bureaucracy, cut the consultants, cut the corporate welfare that Mr. Carney wants to increase, cut foreign aid to stop sending our money away to other countries, to terrorist dictators and global bureaucracies, and bring that money home to Canada. That's how we're going to afford lower taxes and lower debt at the same time.
What do you say to one of our listeners here? And I'll say, if I get commentary about you on the negative, they'll look at something that you just said, like cutting foreign aid. They'll say Donald Trump also says the same thing. Donald Trump and Pierre Poilievre sound the same. So what is your message to our listeners who rightly or wrongly link you to Donald Trump, who we all know is very unpopular right now?
I have my own Canada First agenda. I'm going to put this country first for a change. And that does mean, Trudeau wants to, and Carney, they want to give money to UNRWA, an organization that helped carry out the October 7th attacks against Israelis. They want to give money to the Asian Infrastructure Bank to help China build pipelines and roads and bridges. I want to bring that money home for our people, our roads, bridges, and pipelines. They want to give money to global bureaucracies. I want it to be back in the pockets of Canadians. That is a Canada First agenda. You know who's helping Donald Trump? In reality, Mark Carney. 1 month after Trump won re-election, threatening to take our jobs, Mark Carney moved his corporate headquarters out of Canada to New York, just like Trump wanted. He opposed pipelines and resources projects in Canada for supposedly environmental reasons, while his company invested in American coal. He supported tax increases that have helped drive $500 billion of investment out of Canada to the U.S. Donald Trump would love nothing more than to have Mark Carney in there, because Carney keeps undermining our economy to favor his corporate interests in the United States of America. So I'm the only one who will stand up for this country and put Canada first.
There's a new poll out survey from Leger that says 27% of Canadians say the U.S. is a, quote, enemy. Who do you blame for that sentiment?
I think the threats of President Trump are to blame. He shouldn't have threatened our country. He was dead wrong. To threaten our country with tariffs, that ultimately makes it so that we can't have the free flow of goods, and that interrupts our relationship. We want us to be friends again. Then drop the tariffs and work with us. Yeah, we'll rebuild our military and our borders. Fine, but we should do it as friends. And that's my message to President Trump. Stop threatening our country. Stop attacking us with tariffs. We're the best friend America's ever had, and it's about bloody well time they treated us that way.
There is that looming, and the date on the calendar changes, it seems, quite often, but there's that looming threat of tariffs. Has Team Canada done enough? Are they doing enough right now to be ready for what comes in March and beyond?
No, I think that why didn't we reconvene Parliament to repeal the No New Pipelines law that Carney and Trudeau put in, so that we could actually build a pipeline across Canada and sell Canadian energy? Did you know that Quebec, the people of Quebec have to spend billions of dollars every year buying American oil because we don't have a pipeline directly from Alberta to Quebec? Even the pipelines we do have go through the United States of America, meaning the Americans could cut off Canadian oil to Canadian customers. Why didn't Carney say, Justin, call back Parliament, repeal C-69? It was a big liberal mistake. so that we can build pipelines immediately? Why didn't they recall Parliament to quickly approve LNG projects so that we could ship our gas overseas without going through the United States? Why didn't they pass a nice big tax cut? Why didn't they repeal the carbon tax in the last 2 months, the job-killing carbon tax? They did none of those things because they don't believe in any of those things. And if they're reelected, the same Liberal policies that have put us in this position of weakness and vulnerability will continue. That's why we need a real change with a common-sense Conservative government that will unleash the production of our resources, repeal anti-energy laws, cut taxes for real, and eliminate waste and overspending to pay for it.
It sounds like you would want to be in a debate with Mark Carney as soon as possible. If you were in a debate, what would you want to say to him face to face right now?
Well, the first thing I would say is, if you believe all the policies that he's now plagiarizing, Mr. Carney, if you believe in all the policies you're now pretending to steal from me, then why didn't you do them for the last 5 years? Mr. Carney, you signed on as economic advisor with Justin Trudeau in the year 2020. And in that time, you've helped him double the debt, give us the worst inflation in 40 years, the highest housing costs in the G7, the worst economic growth in that same group of nations, and we've lost $500 billion of investment to the States. Why would Canadians believe that you would do anything different in the next 4 years than you've done in the last 5? A liberal is a liberal is a liberal. If you want a real change, you need to elect common sense Conservatives who've been saying the same thing for the last 2 years while I've been leader. And that is what Canadians will have a choice on in the next election.
I just saw Donald Trump tweeting out, posting in the last hour, again, 51st state, calling the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau governor again, all about this hockey game as well. Do you have anything, is there anything else on Donald Trump you'd like to say?
We will never be the 51st state. We will pay any price and bear any burden to protect our sovereignty. And when I'm Prime Minister, the idiocy will end. We will no longer kill Canadian jobs, stop Canadian resources, tax Canadian business, and send them south. Instead, we will be bringing it home. We will be bringing home our jobs, our money, our resource production to take back control of our country and put Canada first.
Mr. Poilievre, we're going to have to leave it there. Pierre, thanks so much for your time. Talk again soon.
Thank you.